Mojtaba's army has dramatically revealed its full-scale battle plan just as President Trump announces the deployment of 10,000 additional U.S. troops to the region, marking a major escalation in the already tense standoff. Iran is now preparing deadly traps, ambushes, and layered defenses specifically aimed at the incoming American forces, while serious doubts are being raised about whether Trump's generals have been caught completely off guard and unprepared for the dangers ahead. The sudden decision to send 10,000 more soldiers has many analysts interpreting it as a troubling sign that the US is already suffering huge casualties in the war and may be struggling to maintain its position on the battlefield. Following the widely reported failure of the earlier airstrike campaigns and the ineffective naval blockade around key waterways, speculation is mounting that the United States is now preparing to launch a full-scale ground invasion as its next major move. In the wake of the shocking threat issued by Mojtaba's top military aide, Iran's army has begun carrying out aggressive maneuvers and psychological operations that are deliberately designed to scare and unsettle American troops deployed in the region. A clearly worried President Trump is now hinting that the war could end soon, even as disturbing reports suggest that the US military is rapidly losing control over the situation on the ground and may be forced to change course at the last minute.
I will say the war in Iran is going along swimmingly. We can do whatever we want. And it should be ending pretty soon. It was perfect. I mean, it's perfect.
Amid growing reports that the United States is sending fresh reinforcements to the Middle East, the Iranian army has issued a stern and unmistakable warning to Washington, signaling that any further escalation will be met with a forceful response. The Iran army spokesperson has publicly commented on the possibility of a ground invasion by US forces, emphasizing that the country's military is fully prepared and ready to engage any troops that attempt to enter Iranian territory. Brigadier General Mohammad Akramaniyah made these remarks during a tense television interview, as reported by Warner News on April 16, using highly charged language to underscore Iran's readiness and determination in the face of potential American aggression. Akramaniyah disclosed that Iran's army chief has issued clear and uncompromising instructions to all units in the event of a ground invasion by US forces, leaving no doubt about how the country intends to respond. According to Akramaniyah, the Iran army chief explicitly stated that not a single invading soldier should be left alive, reflecting an extremely hardline stance and a readiness to meet any incursion with maximum force. Earlier, Mojtaba's military advisor, Mohsen Rezai, had already stated that he wants the United States to launch an invasion, framing it as an opportunity for Iran to demonstrate its strength and catch the enemy in a carefully prepared trap. Rezai went on to say, "We'll take thousands of hostages, and for each we'll get $1 billion, suggesting a strategy of using captured American personnel as leverage in any future negotiations or confrontations. Iran army units across the country are now on high alert, with commanders treating the current ceasefire no differently from an active wartime situation, keeping all formations at maximum readiness. Akramaniyah also referred to the alleged incident of US military infiltration on April 5, describing it as a provocative move that further increased tensions and justified Iran's decision to tighten its defenses and prepare for the worst-case scenario. Amid soaring regional tensions, Iran claimed that the US military tried to infiltrate the area around Isfahan, a highly sensitive zone where Iran has a key nuclear facility, accusing American forces of attempting a covert operation deep inside its strategic heartland. According to Iranian officials, the alleged infiltration bid was completely foiled when its air defense forces shot down US warplanes, claiming their rapid response prevented any breach of security or successful penetration of Iranian airspace. Subsequent reports suggested that, in a dramatic twist, the US may have blown up its own aircraft to prevent critical intelligence from leaking, raising serious questions about what sensitive technology or data might have been on board. It was further reported that US forces had crossed into Iranian territory in a risky mission to rescue a downed pilot after a jet crashed, highlighting how quickly a single incident can escalate into a major international flashpoint. Meanwhile, on April 16, President Donald Trump stated that the war should be ending pretty soon, sending a mixed signal about Washington's intentions even as fierce clashes and tensions continue on the ground.
I will say the war in Iran is going along swimmingly. We can do whatever we want. And it should be ending pretty soon. It was perfect. I mean, it's perfect. It was the power we have, our military. We have the most powerful military anywhere in the world. I built it 4 years, my first 4 years. We had the best economy in the history of our country in my first term. and we're blowing it out now. We're blowing it away now. And despite our little diversion to the lovely country of Iran, lovely place, but we had to do that because otherwise bad things could happen, really bad things. So we've sent out, and I think you're going to see some incredible results, for those people that question it. You're going to see some, the job we've done has been amazing. The ships are out there today, and they're saying, don't come here, don't even think about it. And you have these massive tankers saying, let's get the hell out of here. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Trump's comments came at the very moment thousands of fresh U.S. troops were being deployed to the Middle East, creating a stark contrast between talk of de-escalation and a visible buildup of American military power in the region. Amid Iran's claim that hundreds of U.S. troops have resigned over the war, fresh reports are emerging of a large-scale military reinforcement into the Middle East instead. The United States is expected to deploy thousands of additional troops to the Middle East in the coming days, according to a Washington Post report on the buildup. This deployment signals a sharp escalation in U.S. military posture just before the fragile US-Iran ceasefire is due to expire on April 22. Officials told the Washington Post that the new movement will include roughly 10,000 soldiers arriving by the end of April, boosting the regional force level. The majority of this force is said to be aboard the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush, which is currently en route to the Middle East. That carrier group alone carries approximately 6,000 personnel, which will significantly bolster U.S. naval strength once it reaches operating zones near Iran. Another major addition is the Boxer Amphibious Ready Group, which is scheduled to arrive by the end of April with about 4,200 troops. This group includes more than 800 Marines along with helicopters and landing craft designed for rapid deployment near coastal areas and islands. Once these reinforcements arrive, the U.S. will have 3 carrier strike groups operating around the region at the same time. These include the USS Abraham Lincoln and the USS Gerald R. Ford, both of which are already involved in the broader military campaign. The expanded military presence is reportedly tied to President Trump's maritime blockade imposed on Iranian shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. At the same time, officials say the White House is also preparing detailed contingency plans in case diplomacy with Tehran collapses. According to the Washington Post, these plans include potential limited ground operations using special forces units inside Iranian territory. Such scenarios are said to focus on securing Iran's existing uranium stockpiles and conducting landings on key islands near the Strait of Hormuz rather than a full-scale invasion. IRGC intelligence said on April 14 that frustration and hopelessness are spreading among U.S. troops in the region, presenting the claim as a sign that repeated Iranian attacks have taken a psychological toll on American forces. The IRGC attributed that alleged drop in morale to Iran's repeated missile and drone strikes on U.S. military bases across the Gulf, arguing that the sustained attacks have disrupted both confidence and battlefield readiness. Iran International reported that the IRGC made this revelation on the basis of what it described as assessments and field data, giving the claim the appearance of an intelligence-backed internal reading of U.S. conditions. Iran's IRGC intelligence said, and I quote, "Despair and frustration are taking a heavy toll on U.S. forces in the region. Intelligence assessments and some field reports on the condition of U.S. forces in the region suggest that a deep and significant sense of frustration and hopelessness has set in among them. According to these reports, several factors are driving that mood: the repeated and effective strikes by Iranian missiles and drones on military bases, officials in Washington brushing aside field reports and on-the-ground data, constant redeployments, living under unstable conditions, and repeated changes in plans ordered by the President and the Defense Secretary. In just the first month of the war, around 734 resignation or discharge requests were reportedly submitted from bases in 3 Persian Gulf countries. Field assessments indicate that the situation appears to be much the same in other countries across the region. These departures span every level, from senior commanders to the lowest ranks. At the same time, senior military commanders say that under orders from the Defense Secretary, the loss of soldiers is not considered a red line. What matters most is preventing commanders and troops from being taken captive." Unquote. The revelation came at a time when reports were also questioning the effectiveness of the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports, adding to the wider narrative that Washington's pressure campaign is facing visible strain.